Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Silent Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and this is Lovecraft Country, Season 1, Episode 6, Meet Me in Daeg. Daeg, I believe is how you pronounce it. I don't know for sure. Welcome, everybody. Before I get started, let me take care of some business first, and then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, at the very end of this video, you're going to see a video pop up here. And basically, what YouTube does takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching, tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos, my vast video library, and pops it up there just for you. And if you like that, hit the subscribe button down below there. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at my schedule that I put up there every week. Plus, I also have the links to all my social media. So Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. No tier subs in the Patreon until I get 1,000 subs. And then, because I want to give something to you guys if you're going to give me money for Patreon. That's just my own personal opinion on that. I also have links to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and my Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video you can comment down below in the comment section. Got it? Yes? All right. Wow. That's all I can say about this episode was, wow, we got a lot of exposition in this one, but it was good. We actually needed all this. It does say a lot, and we actually get a lot of Tick's character, even though he's not in it for a good, up until about, I would say, almost 3/4 of the way through. And well, I should say about halfway through, really. It felt like 3/4 of the way through, but yeah, halfway through. And by the way, that thumbnail that I have for this video, I was very quick on the draw on my TV because otherwise I could have gotten some breast in there, which is something that YouTube frowns upon about putting nudity, in your thumbnails and stuff like that. I don't see the issue, but they do. So yeah, I had to be quick on the draw on that one because quite honestly, everything else that's out there picture wise is just nah. It was focusing on some other stuff, which I'm going to get to as well. But yeah. So we're focusing on Gia and who is in Korea. And by the way, I apologize if I'm going to screw up, pronunciation of names. I don't know how to speak Korean. Go figure. And I'm going to just fuck up names completely. You've seen the videos. I fuck up names. That's kind of what I do. Not on purpose. It's just, I fuck up my own name half the time. So there you go. You can correct me later on. How about that? So we see 1949. We see part of my charm. Thanks. Ben. Yeah, we see in 1949, we see Gia, she's watching movies and stuff like that. And we see she's watching a Judy Garland movie, actually, Meet Me in St. Louis. And there's one other couple that are there. They leave. She's by herself in the theater and she gets up and starts dancing and singing along with the movie. But we see that's actually just inside of her. It's not what she does outside. It's what she wants to do. So, yeah. That was one of the things. And her mother keeps basically telling her she needs to bring back a man. She's studying for her degree in nursing. And her mother's like, yeah, that's not going to help us. Bring back a man is what she says, kind of thing, which is okay. 1949. Sure, something around there. And we see her going through speed dating and all this stuff. And people, all these guys passing her up until one of her friends, who's a nurse, who is very popular, both in the classroom and then also with the guys, invites her along kind of as a third wheel, but still likes her. And there's, I don't know, there's some kind of subtle hint that her friend might like her as well in that way. We don't know for sure because we never really get there. And she ends up seeing a guy at the bar who ends up being, by the way, played by, and I forget the character's name now. He was in Heroes. Remember Heroes on NBC? So he was Heroes' sidekick. Remember Hero, the guy who can travel through time? That was his sidekick dude that was playing the dude that she met at the bar. And she takes him home, strips down, has sex with him, And after he climaxes, these tails come out of her vagina into his ass, mouth, his nose, his ears, pretty much all 9 orifices. And you're trying to figure out 9, his penis as well. Yes. So, and she basically sees his entire life. It flashes into her brain, and he explodes in a bucket of blood all over her. And by the way, Gia, played by the ever excellent Jamie Chung, she doesn't get enough roles, quite honestly. And yeah, so we find out that she is actually a spirit or a monster, if you will, called a kumio, uh, which was summoned by a shaman, by the mother. So what happened is the mother's husband, not her father, but her husband, uh, raped the girl. And so the mother called on the shaman to help out, to call the kumio into the girl's body. And now the girl needs to basically destroy one. She has to collect 100 souls of men, and in order to become human again. So yeah, not really a succubus. It's more like she needs to. She's a spirit of vengeance, if you will. Joe Greer is what she is. She essentially rights the wrongs of men, is what this is. So yeah. So we come into the summer of 1950, and some U.S. tanks come rattling through, saying they're going to, save everyone. And she's become a nurse at this point. The war has filtered in, and so they are handling GIs as well as their own Korean troops that are helping out. And we never really get if she's north or in North or South Korea, where she is exactly. My guess is she's somewhere along the demilitarized zone, somewhere around there is where it's happening. Or she could be in South Korea too. I'm not too entirely sure about this, but her friend, her nursing friend, turns out to support communism, and then also saying stuff about like how uh there's people that are different, and different is good, kind of thing. And Gia at this point isn't sure if she wants to become human again. She doesn't feel anything really. She doesn't feel love or anything like that, but she's having conflicting emotions, whether or not she's a monster or not, what's going on. And after her friend admits to being a communist and all this kind of stuff, at one point, all the nurses are gathered up, brought out in a truck, out into the field, made to kneel down. And a U.S. troop is saying that, spy reports are coming out of the hospital, and it's from that shift. And one of them is a spy. So he just kind of goes down the line, goes, "Are you a spy?" And she's like, "No." And he goes, "Who is it?" Bang, shoots her in the head. Then the next one, who's sitting right next to Gia, same thing, bang, shoots her in the head. And as it comes to Gia's turn at this point, Tick has been brought in because the other guy's gun had jammed. And Tick had killed the girl right next to him there, or next to her. And as he's about to pull the trigger on Gia, her friend pops up and goes, "I'm the spy, I'm the spy." And bang, she gets shot in the head right there in front of her. And yeah, it's just, and they're like, "Okay, the rest of you can go," kind of thing. So really kind of just you see the bad stuff that Tick was talking about that he had to do in the war. You're getting a little piece of that. And later on, she sees him in the hospital. He's banged up, and she's feeling furious because, of course, he killed her friend, and his glasses are broken from the bomb blast that he was in, and he can't read his book. So, yes, thank you. Hero's friend was Ando. Ando is the name of the guy from the beginning there. But yeah, that was him, by the way. So, yeah. So he's in the hospital. He can't read his book, and At one point, she's changing his linens, and he asks her if she can read the last couple of chapters of The Count of Monte Cristo, and she recounts the ending to the movie, not the book, basically ruining it for him. But he already knows what the ending is, and he goes, "No, that's the movie ending, not the book ending." He goes, "If you want to find out how it ends, if you can read it to me, that'd be great." And she's like, "No, I got to go home." And basically, she's telling her mom that she's going to kill this guy. She's only got one more soul to get. She's got 99 souls. Yeah, sorry, I was going to make a 99 problems joke, but nope, not going to do it. So yeah, she tells her mom that she's going to harvest that last soul, and she doesn't. She actually gets to know him, and as they start knowing each other, they both realize that they are monsters, kind of, and but as she puts it at one point, we each want to be the person that we see in each other, kind of thing, is what she says. And as she had brought him home at one point and was going to kill him, and he says, "I'm a virgin," and she chases him out of the room and basically says, "Get the hell out." It wasn't because of he's a virgin, but because of who he is. Um, and the mother is basically like, "You know what? You're a monster. You need to, get this thing done. Bring my daughter back to me." And she basically reads the mother the riot act and goes, "You know what? You're the one that brought the guy in because you were someone who had a baby out of wedlock, and he took advantage of that, and you let him because all you were trying to do was save face. Uh, and you knew that he was raping your daughter, and yet you let it happen for so long until you finally called the shaman to put a demon into your child in order to take care of it. So who's the fucking monster here?" is what she says, which is right at that point, because damn, that's just some really fucked up shit. And I'm gonna put on my glasses here so I can actually take a look at what I'm doing here, because I took a copious amount of notes here. So forgive me if I'm going through some of this. And yes, this is turning into a little bit of a recap too. But hey, you know what? This is Lovecraft Country, man. It's got a lot of stuff in it. So, man. And I love there's one line in there actually before they get to know each other when she's reading him the last few chapters of the Monte Cristo book, and uh she says, "War changes people. That's what a friend told me." And she goes, "Basically, we need to rise above it." And he says, "Well, I'd like to meet this friend." And I said to the screen, I'm like, "Well, you can't because you fucking killed her." Yeah, it's one of those kind of things. So I did like also that she comes to meet him on the base, and his friend, who's Korean American, and we'll get into that a little bit too, basically brings her onto base as a comfort woman, because he says that's the only way she can get onto base is being called that, a comfort woman. And this is the first time that she's actually, before they have sex and everything. And he shows her a copy of Summer Stock, which his uncle got that out there. And that was actually kind of cool that he did that and brought that out to her. So we're seeing a little bit of Tick and how he reacts on all of that. So finally, when she has sex with him, she's able to rein in the tails, and she is actually able to have sex with him and not kill him. And she tells her mother this as well, and how, "You said I was a monster, that I had no feelings, I could not love." She goes, "That's bullshit, I can." And then of course comes the day when she is having sex with them and the tails start coming out, and he grabs some, she grabs some, and some of them actually lock in, and she sees his life and tosses him off of her with the tails, and she stays locked onto him a little bit too long, and she sees his future of him coming home, and that he's going to die at home. And we actually see a little bit of it. It flashes fairly quickly. Some stuff we've already seen, and some stuff that we have yet to come. And he's like, fuck, what the fuck was that? Get the fuck away from me. And he leaves because he was getting ready to go home at this point too. And he wanted her to come with him. And yeah, so that does not happen, obviously, of course. So finally, she ends up going with her mother to the shaman, and they end up, well, that's what they call as the shaman. And they're kind of calling it loosely that. It's actually called and I'm blanking on it now, the mudeng. There we go. They go to her to remove the kimiho from her. And of course, the mother says, I will pay any price. I already know that there's a price to be paid. I'll pay it for my daughter at this point. And all she wants to know, all Gia wants to know, is what she saw of Tick. Is that actually going to happen? Is he really going to die? And the shaman basically tells her, you will see countless deaths before your journey is done. And that's pretty much how we leave off on this. And it's like, it's really kind of fucked up because you're like, wow, okay, shit. That's yeah. And she actually warned him too. That's the whole thing. Gia actually warned him not to go home, that if he goes home, he's gonna die. That's why when he called her and he says, how did you know? How did you know this was gonna happen? And you know, and then what are you is what he asked. What are you? Because of course of the tales and everything. She actually tells him the whole folklore tale about the Kimio as a mountain spirit that is called down into the body of a beautiful woman and has 9 tails, and of course takes revenge on men for the evil that they've done. So she was trying to tell him who she was, but not as matter of factly. And by the way, there is an anime, I want to say it's in I think it's in Love, Death, and Robots that they actually use that as well, which is a great. I want to say it's in that. It's the cyberpunk one where he is turning the fox lady into a steampunk robot and all that kind of stuff. It might be in that series. I can't remember. I've watched so much shit, man. I can't remember what's what anymore. So there you have it. Some good stuff. And man, next week we're getting what's going on with Hippolyta on this and her visions, and yeah, we're just kind of rounding this stuff out. I'm liking where this is going. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention his friend that was with him in the army who got drafted. He's a Korean American. And Gia says, well, why don't you just come over here? Because, you'd be welcome here, people of your own kind, that kind of stuff. If you're facing so much racism in the United States, he goes, yeah, over here, they basically call me a Yankee kind of thing. So no, I don't fit in here. I don't fit in there. So fuck all is what he says. And Tick, we found out, actually was the one who volunteered. Basically, he signed up. He did not get drafted, but he actually signed up for the war, probably to get away from his dad. So that was Love, Death, and Robots, right, Penn, on that? Okay, I was right. But yeah, that's the same folklore, by the way. So, and if I remember correctly, it's also Japanese folklore too, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of Korean and Japanese folklore kind of overlap sometimes in some stuff, but I've actually looked into that a long time ago, and I can't remember a good majority of it. So I like the folklore stuff, especially all different countries all have different folklores of stuff that goes on. And it's always good if you're interested in horror, supernatural, all that kind of stuff, especially if you're thinking about writing about it. Check out other countries' folklore tales. Those are the best places to mine that kind of ideas. Yeah, the Asian nations all have different folklores that are great. The Baltics, of course, too. Also the Aboriginals, they have their own folklores. All this kind of stuff is always great to use for stories if you're doing any kind of writing. Africa. Every place has their own folklore, which is great. So some of it does overlap though too, so which is good too. But seeing different cultures takes on particular themes is also really good too. Yes, ghosts, all that kind of stuff. Kevin Lopez, are there any shows? Actually, if you ask me that in the chat, or not in the chat, in the comment section when I'm done here, this will be a comment section. I can give you some stuff, but right now I just want to keep it focused on Lovecraft Country. So, yeah. Oh man. So yeah, we had a little bit of racism sneaked in there. We might have had a little bit of LGBT as well thrown in there too. I'm not too sure with her friend. We had a little bit of talk about communism in there as well. We had a little bit of everything in this episode. And it was still pretty damn good and horrifying as well. Watching those nine tails spear Ando the way it did. And yeah. Oh, that's right. Ando actually didn't he used to do that Wahoo kind of thing? Which I think was kind of just a throwback to that. Because when she's seeing his memories, he climbs the mountain, he's at the top, and he yells at Wahoo, and the tail in her mouth retracts back in, and she yells that out just before he explodes. Which, oh my God. Man, and the mom just kind of nonchalantly cleaning up the blood afterwards, out of that room. They have an entire room that they do this in, and they make it spotless, and fuck. Oof. But yeah, so we got and when she's seeing Tick's memories, she's seeing all the fucking horrifying things that he did during the war too. Like he's sitting there pulling out teeth out of one woman, and just doing other stuff too. And yeah, really, really disturbing shit. So yes, it is hard. This is one of those shows that when people go, oh, you know what, you got to see a horror movie. This one scared the shit out of me or whatnot. This is actually pretty fucking horrifying. This show. This is one of those shows that actually delivers on the horror, as well as the story. The story writing is actually really good. The acting's good. The production value is really good in this too. It might not be for everybody. I understand, but yeah, I usually don't go in for like horror. For me has to be kind of particular, and this one is where it's at for me on this one. Yeah. Tales from the Crypt. Yeah, I remember Tales from the Crypt. I used to like that one. Yeah. I agree with you, Penn. I'm loving this one as well. This is one of those shows I look forward to every week, and I'm glad they're doing one episode a week. I think if they did it like a binge style, I wouldn't be able to watch it. I just wouldn't be able to do it because you actually need that one episode a week in order to digest it, kind of get through it and kind of release. And then you kind of go, okay, it's been a week. I'm ready for the next one. Give it to me, And I think that's where we're at on that. So, yeah. All right. Well, it's late for you guys out in the East Coast. Not late for me. Yeah, I would prefer the weekly format as well, Penn. It's just easier on everybody. I'm gonna let you guys go for the night. Thank you to everyone who joined me tonight in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. Remember, if you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. And if you like that, hit that subscribe button down there. And while you're down there, hit that like button and the share button as well. Yep, all three of those guys down there. And if you want to know when I'm be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. So the best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I'm usually pretty close in time. I'm usually right on. But some episodes like this one, I took a little extra 15 minutes because I had to make the thumbnail, promote it, all that kind of stuff, and send it out there before I got ready. So I needed the extra 15 minutes than what I had allotted for time. Also, if you want to go to suspendedfanimation.com, you'll see the schedule up there. It's also my links to all my social media. So Facebook, Excuse me, not Facebook. Well, Facebook is on there too. Man, it's getting late. Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. There we go. Also, Facebook and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. So, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the night. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again on Tuesday because I'm going to be off tomorrow for Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, it's going to be McGee's sequel to The Babysitter called The Babysitter Killer Queen. And that is on Netflix if you guys are interested in that. You can actually watch along and watch beforehand and then come on board on Tuesday. So until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find that beautiful woman that's taking you home for the night has 9 tails, and she's going to put them in places you didn't know existed. And also, you're not going to really like it afterwards. Thanks, everybody. I will see you on Tuesday. Until then, have a good night. Take care. Be safe and be well. Thanks, everyone. Good night.